What's happening, party people? I am in sunny South Texas. It's about 70 degrees, breezy. Down here, relaxing for a few days, spending a few days with Mita, and about to have a birthday. I am going to be the big, well, I'm not going to say my age. Anyway, I just wanted to touch base with you guys. Hey, just a reminder, I am still not planning on taking restricted calls. I got two restricted calls, I guess I'd say early this morning. Who calls anybody about what at 2:30 in the morning? Two restricted missed calls. I didn't take those. Actually, my ringer, it turns itself off about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Doesn't turn itself back on till about 6 in the morning. So I don't even hear those calls. If you're somebody just trying to irritate me, well, I don't even know you're trying to irritate me. And if you're somebody that needs something, man, at 2 in the morning, call 911. This is not the emergency number. Anyway, besides that, I'm going to start taking notes and answering questions via YouTube Shorts. So that'll be some content that other people can get the answers to. So that'll be good. Also, I headed back home in a few days. I'll be around Cincinnati for a week or so. Then I'm headed to Chicago, help Sebastian for about a week. And then I'm coming back to Cincinnati for a few days, take care of some stuff around there. I got doctor's appointments, different kind of personal things I need to take care of. And then I'll be headed back out to Southern California. Man, while I was at Southern California, I decided to do a little bit of research on locating that red car. And let me tell you something, man. Sometimes people get into deals with you and they never intend on going through with those deals. And if you're getting into a deal that could cost you some money or some frustration, don't do like I did and take somebody's word for it. Believe that they care about you, care about what you're doing, have any kind of moral values like you have. This guy said he had them all. And man, after doing a little bit of research with some PI work, I doubt this guy ever intended on paying for that car. And man, just a couple days research discovered some things about his financial situation, financial past, and other things. It's just sad. That people would approach you, come to you, say how much they appreciate what you're doing, hire you to do work, don't pay for that, talk you into selling them a vehicle, barely half pay for that, and then just won't give you their address, won't tell you where their vehicle is, won't be reasonable. I actually offered to square up with the guy and give him a full refund of the vehicle minus the money he owes me for work I did on other vehicles. And he basically told me that I was out of my mind for trying to settle up with him. I told him, hey, as long as you haven't racked up a bunch of miles on the car's still in the same condition, I'll give you a refund minus what you owe me for the other work on your other vehicles. And he basically told me I was at a loss. I doubt he can part that car out for that. And according to California law, I have up to 4 years from the day of the breach of the written contract to do a small claims court to try to recuperate my loss that way. But I don't even know if that's worth my time because I don't know if you can get blood out of a turnip. So, hey, uh, just don't make the same mistake I did and trust somebody. Man, how the saying used to go, in God we trust, all others pay cash. You know, should have been one of those deals with that vehicle. Anyway, man, if you having a hard time communicating with somebody or or coming to an agreement, man, just be an adult about it, talk it out. I could show you guys some text messages that would probably turn your stomach and anger and frustrate you. It didn't really bother me because I know how some people are. You just hate to uh, be the recipient of that kind of stuff. I tell people when I get treated bad, man, they nailed Jesus to the cross. Stripped the clothes off of him, beat him till he bled nearly to death, and then hung him. And he didn't do any wrong to anybody, but he did things that they didn't like. People have their personal opinions and their feelings, and most people want things to go their way. They don't care if it's fair or anything like that. They just want it to go their way. And when you got people like that, I call it selfishness. That's just the way they're going to be. And they will take a loss trying to prove a point to you. And I doubt that guy could get anything out of that car more than I offered him. But, he think he's harming me. There's more important things in life than money. And nobody likes to take a loss, but most people do. You're going to take a loss sometime in your life, especially with dealing with material things on this planet. Houses, cars, stuff like that. You just don't want to keep throwing good money after bad. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's clip. I was still in Las Vegas at this time. And man, in just a short 10 days, I put about 2,300 miles on Panther. And things didn't go well with replacing that engine, but the car's running good, so I kept on pressing. So I'll be bouncing back out to Southern California area and off the West Coast end of February, 1st of March, and we'll pick up where we left off out there. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys' support. Kicking off the Tinker Day, we're going to do a transmission drain and fill on this 2011 XC90. It should be a straightforward process. A lot of good videos out there. I'm going to post this information just for people that like the sound of my voice. FCP has a great video. I've seen a couple more that were, not as good as theirs, but here's mine. So let's get started. You could actually do this job on the ground if you don't mind crawling around on the ground kind of low. You can put it on ramps, do the job, or you could put it on jack stands and do it. Let me see if we got some ramps here. That's the route I would like to take. Step one, you want to open the hood and access the transmission fill hole bolt on top. Break that bolt loose. Make sure you can get that loose. If you can't get that loose, you don't want to drain the fluid out. So let's do that. First thing I'm going to do is get the vehicle on jack stands. After that, I'm going to pop the hood and make sure I can access and loosen the fill hole bolt. If you can't loosen that bolt, you can't drain the fluid out because you won't be able to fill it back up. So let's do that. So the process on this is you make sure you can loosen the fill hole bolt. You drop the belly pan from under it. You remove a level access bolt, may get a little fluid out. Then you remove the drain bolt, which has the fill level safety drainage in it. Then you put the two bolts back in, snug them down. Then you fill up the transmission with 4 quarts of oil. Then you run the vehicle and heat the transmission up to 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. You want that transmission warm and mix up the fluid, and then shut it off, drain it again, and then fill it up again, and then heat the fluid up again to about 50 degrees Celsius to make sure that you get all the fluid mixed up. Then you pull out the level drain screw so that the fluid drains down to that proper level in the transmission. You want to do that when the vehicle is level, of course. So before you pull that bolt out for the last time to do the level, you want to get it on a level surface. So let's get started. As you can see, we have the vehicle on the jack stand. We're going to open the hood, We're going to remove the air box. That'll make it easier for us. Or the only way we're going to see that bolt on top of that transmission. There ain't no way of seeing it and getting to it from here. You lift this dust cap off. It's just got some press clips on it. One there, one there, one here. They press into these little clips there. Now, I guess we're probably best to just take this off and lay it to the side. So we're going to hit these T30s for those. Took the 4 screws out. A little stuck to there. It's just pried up with a screwdriver or something. Move that to the side. Does have a rubber gasket there. Now we're going to take this tube loose from the airflow and pull up this air box. Air box has some screws around it here, and then I think you have to release a clip in the bottom of it to get it off. So we'll get those off and take this clamp loose to get it loose from there. Took 5 screws loose from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you lift this up and you pry out that air tube and get this out of the way. I actually left the mass airflow sensor plugged in. Just lifted off the air box and spun it toward the windshield. Now I pull out the bottom piece of the air box. Take out the air filter. And I don't see any press clips in here, and this little adapter there is not on there. So we're going to take this air tube off here to work this bottom box out, because the bolt, actually you can see the bolt for it there, but I wouldn't strain myself trying to reach through there. This actually just lifted up toward the back of the vehicle and comes out. It's got a guide gasket there that holds it on the frame of the car. So that's the bolt right there. You need to make sure you can get loose. I believe it's a T55. Let us grab that and try to break that bolt loose. We got a T55 on there, long extension, breaker bar. I actually wedged it up against that bracket and was able to break it loose. It took some force, pulled one of my feet off the ground. So we got that loose, as you can see. So now we're going to go under it, remove the splash pan. Take your belly pan off. You got screw there, screw there, screw there, screw there. Just take all the screws off all the way around. Peel your pans down and slide it out of your way. Come under the car. Come down here behind this bolt. You see the wire harness here. And you see at the corner of that wire harness, that T40, that's the level hole bolt. We're going to take that out, and then we're going to use a 17 millimeter hex to get that larger drain bolt out. Pulled that T40 out, and oil is coming out of the transmission. Let's see how much comes out. That much should not come out of there, but let's see what happens. It came out with that little O-ring gasket hanging on the bottom of it. So that's the pre-fill hole. Almost a quart came out of there. That's more than I expected. So now we're going to take the 17 and take the drain bolt out. Yeah, about a quart came out. Here's the hex 17. Put it up in that bolt there and remove that bolt like a normal bolt. As you can see, this fluid is black, and it shouldn't be. It should be red. Transmission fluid oil is red. So let me turn this bolt out and drain the rest of this stuff. I broke it loose with the 1/2" wrench, and it's coming out. Huh? Let me grab it, turn it the rest of the way out. I thought it was going to come out with the tool. Oh, it fell down in there. This is a situation where you put back what you take out. And man, that thing act like it's done draining. And a little more than 2 quarts. That's not good. That's the bolt that come out. So your fluid level inside the transmission is supposed to be up to the top of that bolt. When you pull that center bolt out, it drains fluid out of there. Now, not near as much fluid came out of there as I expected. So I don't know if this thing was low on fluid or what, but fluid did come out of there when I pulled that bolt out. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the back, put on jack stands, get this vehicle level. We did not take the vehicle and warm it up, and we drained it. We only got 2.5 quarts out. So we took the fill bolt out, it's right there. Added 2.5 quarts of oil to the transmission. We got the bolts underneath tight. We got this one snug. We're gonna put the air box in, hook everything back up, take this car for a drive. Now I think it's safe to just add back what you took out. You could do that 4 or 5 cycles, but it's just easier if you get it all out at one time. Supposed to be 2 cycles. So we're gonna drive it around, heat it up. Probably takes 30 minutes to get it heated all the way up. You could check it on your scanner, the transmission temp, and then go from there. Yeah, they say these transmissions have lifetime fluid, but I tell you, man, you do not want this fluid in your car. Not long. Doesn't smell burnt, but it's not far. We put the backup on jack stands this time to try to level the truck out a little bit. Now we're going to drain after the drive to see how much we get. So this is how red your transmission fluid should be. Really shouldn't change colors. We're getting 2.5 quarts at a time, not the 4 quarts like some say, so we could do 3 or 4 of these 2.5 quart draining fills. Everything's back together. We're going to start it, run it through the gears, check the temperature of the transmission, and do another drain and fill. Hooking up the scanner, trying to check the transmission temperature. So I talked to my Volvo mechanic. He said just put back what you take out, especially if it hadn't had any leaks or anything like that. And if it has had leaks, then you do the center bolt removal, let it get to that level. But that's supposed to be done with the transmission at temperature in park with the engine running. When it starts dripping, you put that bolt back in, not with the car off. So we're going to do a couple more drain and fills and button this up. Then we're going to replace all the brake fluid in the car, change the oil, and then he's going to go back to racing. That final big plug is to be torqued at 35 Newton meters. Newton meters to foot-pound conversion is you take the Newton meters times 0.75 and you'll come up with your foot-pounds. So that's about 27 foot-pounds. The inner little screw there is 8 Newton meters. That would be 6 foot-pounds. And then put your belly pan on and call it a day. But down here I noticed something scarred that rotor real bad. A rock must have got caught in there and just ripped the gouge out of that rotor. We might pull that rotor off, make sure there's nothing stuck in the pad. On this 2012, the bolt has an O-ring on there. We got a crush washer for it. I guess either or would work. We're going to leave the O-ring on ours after we put 2.5 quarts in. You just tighten that bolt. You know, it was very tight coming out. 25 foot-pounds probably enough. If you want to go any more than that, that's up to you. To get this air box back in, I recommend that you take that rubber grommet out of the air box, put it down on the frame, then massage the air box in there on top of that rubber grommet so that it fits in there nice and snug. Then you got that little nut that's supposed to be there that's missing. Now we're going to put this top on there back into the air tube. Make sure you got your mass airflow sensor plugged in. Tighten that clamp down. Then put the computer back on top of the air box. Well, we filled the oil up with the drain bolt out. Fortunate for us, the oil pan was big enough and it was still under the open oil drain bolt. But it's 35 bucks gone. Going to fill it up now. Willie Gilly has this cat multi-purpose jump box phone charger, AC adapter, and tire inflator. There's a lot of things going on there. I set it to 33. It's having a hard time getting past 32.9. I don't know if it'll inflate anymore. Let me check the pressure. Seems to be stuck. This one was all the way down to 14 psi. Should never run your car tires under probably 12 psi. You could damage the inside of the tires. Well, all my tires was low. I got to check my records and see when the last time I drove this car. Ah, that broke. Wiper arm. I thought it was September, but Gilbert's telling me it was last spring. Anyway, I got all the tires aired up. This one had, I think, 24. That one had around 17 or 18. This one had 9, and this one had 20. So they're all up to 32 now. I got to make a little run to the parts store and come back and start uploading videos and doing other things. Here we are, folks. The last thing on the dock is to, well, we'll check the O2 system, but we're going to bleed the brake system out, pop the hood, suck out everything out of the reservoir, put fresh fluid in there, then go to the furthest one. Rear right, then rear left, then passenger front, then driver front. They said they rebuilt the engine recently that wasn't any good. Got a screw reed in the tread. Got to get that removed at the tire shop. So we see inside the brake pad, it does have a groove in there, so probably a rock got stuck in there early on. The back of the rotor has a groove and some scoring on it in there. Really evident. It's pretty decent groove in there. We're going to take the rotor off to look. I don't know what for. Really didn't have to come off to see that. But we could not get this rotor off. I sprayed PB Blaster in the holes. I chiseled down on the hole areas, trying to get it to break loose. It's rusted around here. Sprayed PB Blaster and everywhere. I beat on the edge of it. Got the edge of it all nicked up. Could not get that rotor off of the hub. But we did see that the strut's leaking. And he was hearing some noise certain times. It's probably because his struts are bad. So we are going to order some struts, get those replaced. And now we'll see if the brakes work. He's going to test drive it. Whoop, whoop. Done for the day. Again, thanks for watching. If you need to contact me, you can hit me up on my website. You can send me a text, call me, stuff like that. Especially if you want me to help you with something at your location. You have questions you want me to try to answer. Or if you got things like parts you want me to try to get. If I got the parts, glad to help you out immediately with them. Sometimes I don't, and I have to try to find those things in the salvage yard. And a lot of times I'll ask for a deposit before buying parts at the salvage yard, and then ended up with parts I don't need. I got a bunch of that. So anyway, appreciate you watching. Hope you're having a great weekend.